Hi, Robin.
Hi, Jesse.
So Robin and I are here, for those of you watching the recording. This was supposed to be live via Facebook, but in all of my weekly repetitive glory, I cannot get Facebook Live to work. It worked 2 days ago. We've tried 8 different ways, so we're giving up and we're just going to go to the recording. So I apologize if you expected to watch this live and you're watching a recording. So for those of you who don't know Robin, I'll have her introduce herself in a minute, but we were both pretty passionate about web and web design and making sure that people's websites look good. And so we were chatting earlier this week about, or last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever, recently, about different ways to be able to kind of give back and provide some tips. And I mentioned, let's do some live website reviews. And we got a great list of volunteers who'd be interested in getting feedback. And so that's kind of where this idea came from. So Robin, why don't you give a little bit of a rundown to the folks in the Actionable Marketing Group, who you are and what you do and kind of how you got into this, and then we'll dive in.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you, Jesse. Hi, guys. I'm Robin White, and my business is called Time to Task. I am a website designer specializing in WordPress websites. And my big goal is to design beautiful, simple, and strategic websites that will authentically represent you and attract your ideal clients. And I primarily work with service providers in the coaching, interior design, home organizing, and art gallery fields. And I'm super excited to be here with Jesse today.
And she has an adorable pug named Lulu.
Yes, I do.
So,
thank you.
Great. And so for those of you who are watching and don't know me, I'm Jessie Cohen. I run Jessie Cohen Marketing. So I do a lot with a variety of different clients, from strategic marketing and helping people make sure they're on the right track, a lot of B2B marketing, corporate clients, all the way down to, I have a number of holistic folks. So it's everybody in between. There's an opportunity to work with them. So, and I build in Squarespace. So Robin and I have different platforms that we're focused on, but we appreciate, there's different things that we're hyper aware of and things like that. So this should be fun. So we have 2 volunteers today. We're going to start off with one website. My Heather McGuire is our client. Let me put, and this is the first time we're doing this, so there may be other technology issues that we don't know about yet.
We'll see.
Yeah. So diving in, I'm going to share Heather's website, and we're going to start by going through, and I'm going to move your head to the top of the screen up here, over here. So we're going to go through, and this is Heather's homepage here, as you can see. One of the things, Robin, I'll just chime in saying, look, Heather is, her business is around providing folks with intuitive readings and help getting clarity around pieces of your life. So Heather's site is built to be able to help people to be able to book sessions with her direct on the site. She's not selling products, but she is selling her services this way. So, which is cool. So I think one of the areas that we wanted to start in was talking about the overall design. And obviously, Robin and I have spent a little bit of time looking at this, but I'll say I love the imagery and the photography of it. I love the tone. I love it. Really exemplifies like this calm, comforting, welcoming, focus, like the picture with the messaging here for me, like with the lilacs, it's blurry around the edges, but right in the middle, you have this clear, and you have the word clear there too.
The imagery is stunning. It was one of the things the first time I just looked at the website very quickly that just stood out to me. Look at this photo of Heather. She is smiling. She's looking directly at the camera, so at the visitor to the website. She just appears friendly and approachable. It's a perfect headshot for a website. And the other photos that she uses, throughout the site are just beautiful. And it really gives a lovely feel to the entire site.
Yeah, there's a really, especially going back to headshots, and I don't want to focus too much time here, but because you're buying services with Heather directly, it's important to be able to make that visual connection, like you pointed out. If you're buying products, it's a little bit of a different animal. But because you're buying Heather and Heather's services, you want to be able to say, oh, she's looking at me. I feel her connection there. Regardless of what industry you're in, there's that personal connection that you're making. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
I like the shapes. I think that's something that people don't take into account a lot too. Like the circle shape here, again, exemplifies some of the energy that she's trying to communicate across her site too.
Absolutely. And since it looks like a purple lavender is a color of hers, she uses it further down in the website. I like that some of the photographs, so there's that nice lavender, pull that photo and right there. It just all ties together. It makes it really cohesive.
Yep. Yeah, between the lavender here and then you have this like dusty rose pink color too. They complement each other really nicely.
Beautifully.
So it's good. And it kind of pops up in the photography as well too. So
yes, it all ties in really nicely.
Yep. And if Robin and I are looking down, we both have cheat sheets. So we'll just be overt about it. We had an order that we wanted to chat in. This is the first time we're doing it. We wanted to make sure that we, didn't miss anything.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the use of white space, because I think for me, that's something that's incredibly important that people don't think about, and giving your eyes a visual break as you're going through whatever creative element that you're building, but in a website too. Heather does a wonderful job having, I don't know if you can see it in the recording or depending on your monitors as you're watching this, but this is white. This has a little bit of a tint behind it, and there's space here. So you get an eye break, and it's a visual break to be able to communicate, oh, this is a new section. So you don't need huge fonts that say, now we're getting to the testimonials part.
She does a fantastic job using white space on her website. And since my whole aesthetic is very simple, I am a huge fan of white space, and having the overall feel when you hit a website being one of simplicity and calmness, and Heather really achieves that wonderfully in her site. There's nothing's busy or distracting, and that's what I really love, and I think she's done a great job of that here.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's you want to dive into a couple more pages?
Yeah, and we can also just mention really quickly, if it's all right, that she's done a really great job choosing her fonts. They're
Agreed.
Easy to read. They're a big enough size. So someone like me who wears glasses and needs them for reading as well can actually see what the words say. Nothing is, sometimes people like to use these fancy script fonts or fun fonts, which can be great if they're used properly, but the most important thing is legibility, and you can easily read what Heather has on the page.
Yes, definitely. Yep. I think, and again, because the first time we're doing this, there's probably things we're going to repeat ourselves with, but the idea of readability across a website, you have headings 1, heading 2, heading 3. On the back end, for those of you who don't know, it's an H1, H2. You do it in Word documents too. You have your heading, and it's formatted specifically for the way that you consume the information on the page. So thinking about fonts, one of the biggest mistakes that people made is they'll use a heading font for body copy, meaning, so this is a heading, this would be body copy. You want to keep these body copy fonts, and Heather does a great job with this, and actually so does Anna on the next site. They're easy to read and consume. These also easy to read and consume, but you could play with that if you want. And I'm not saying that Heather would need to, but like this is where you would put your fancy fonts. So just for future reference. But let's dive in a little bit deeper as we kind of click through. One of the things that Robin, you and I chatted a lot about when going through this site was the user experience. And as you can see here, there's something a little funky happening. Maybe if I change the size of the screen or if I make it bigger. One of the things you want to look out for, and the way that we live our lives today, especially, is it's called responsive design. So websites will shrink and expand depending on the size of the browser window you're looking at. So if I'm looking at something in a phone versus on my laptop screen versus on my huge monitor that I have here, there's different breakpoints within a design. And a lot of platforms, WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, a lot of these will account for that as you're designing, but it's something that you should be aware of. So in this case, it looks like the breakpoint, because I'm on my smaller screen, is in a funny spot here. And I know Heather's site is built in WordPress, so maybe that's something Robin probably could look at and be like, oh yeah, here's where you need to change that.
Right. There's probably a setting somewhere that would need to just be rejigged ever so slightly, or margins or padding, something like that.
Yeah, but that's something to look out for. Also, I want to point out from a usability perspective, when you go from the home page to this page, her whole navigation changed a little bit. It's something that you want to be aware of too. There's an opportunity to make sure that that your nav stays seamless across a website so people can find the right information.
Yes, exactly. It's all about consistency throughout the entire website so that it feels cohesive on every individual page as a whole. Yeah.
If I click through on a couple of these, like it changed a little bit here again. I think we noticed this as an area of opportunity for Heather to make sure that this was, it changes the size of the logo and stuff like that. I actually love the way that this is laid out personally. I don't know how, I prefer this one over the one she has on the homepage.
I agree. I like her, company name and tagline centered rather than off to the left. And I think that looks really nice. And I would love to chat about her work with me page if you want to.
Dive in. Dive right in there. I'll kind of scroll as you're chatting.
I love this page, Heather. You have done a phenomenal job. And what I like most about it is right here where Jessie is, you very clearly outline what your service offerings are, how much they cost. I love the border around each of them. So each is it's all very clearly laid out. Then I love that you say who you work with and that you have an FAQ section as well. So basically, someone who's information gathering can go to this page, and I would imagine the majority of what they're trying to find out, you've hit on it here, and they can get their answers. And that is so important. So great job.
Yeah, I love the way that these pop up too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes it like very clear. Again, thinking about usability, it makes it very clear in what you should click and where you should look. I hate when these big pop-ups show up and you can never figure out where the X is.
Yes.
So I think this is done really, really well too.
I agree. And also not having the answers to the questions on the page that you click to get the answer keeps everything nice and simple and clean and less busy.
The one piece of feedback I would have is some sort of hover or interaction here so they're clickable. I wouldn't make them a button, but there's, a hover, meaning when you roll over it, that it changes color. So that way this is clickable. So again, minor feedback, something to consider. And then I know I'm a big fan of Acuity. This is what Heather uses to schedule. If you guys don't know about Acuity, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. But again, usability, it makes it super easy for clients to kind of go, okay, click, I'm gonna book with you right now. So we're not here to talk about technology. We're here to talk about the website. So where do you want to go next? You want to go to events?
Sure, that's a good next place. Again, that's a beautiful image.
Definitely.
And I like the candle in it and the colors, the flower theme throughout all your imagery. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think the one thing and again, we're not in her back end, we're on the front end, but I'll highlight for people watching the videos, make sure you name your images too. There's another video in my YouTube about SEO and all of that stuff. Can't stress it enough.
Huge SEO opportunity. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is a funky little page as we were looking at it. Yeah. It looks like it's built as a blog page, if I know my WordPress a little bit, because you've got the recent posts down the side.
Exactly. And I would actually, a very simple fix to that, and Heather, I'm happy to talk you through this offline, but there's a way to set your page template so that the sidebar, which is what Jesse was just referring to, where the archives are, the blog archives, you can set it so that doesn't show up on this page.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think with events pages too, keeping them simple. And I think one of the big tips that Robin and I both agree on when designing sites for people who have events, it's awesome asset to have. If you don't have any, either put a message up that says, oh, right now we don't have any events, but we're planning some new things. It's a great opportunity to highlight a newsletter. So say, if you'd like to be the first to hear about our upcoming events, click this form and fill that out. Or if you don't want to do that, then you just hide the page in the navigation. You don't turn it off. Don't turn it off because your links will be dead, and that's a big no-no. But you just hide it, and then when you have a new event, you pop it back up there. So
very simple.
You know, it's better than having an empty, in our opinions, it's better than having an empty page. I do love breadcrumbs. I know people have a love-hate relationship with, these are called breadcrumbs for those of you watching. I just think, especially with long scrolling websites that we have today, it's so nice to continue easy navigation as you work your way through the site. Some sites you may notice, you know, and I'd like to hear your opinion on this, Robin, but some people have like, it sticks to the top and then your website scroll.
Yes.
So
well, if you notice what Heather has, and I noticed it's on some pages, but not all the pages, but when you do get down to the bottom of some of the pages, she's got a little arrow in the bottom right corner.
Oh, it's right here.
Which will actually take you back to the top. So once you've finished with that page, you just click on that, it brings you right back up, and then you can navigate through using the menu. So that's a way around a sticky menu if you don't want one.
Yep. All right, let's go through her about, and then again, there's her little breadcrumbs. She's got the same image that we both love. You know, I love when people tell their stories here. You know, again, she's got that photo where she's peeking right at you.
Yeah, great photo.
Yep.
And it's nice that it's a different photo from what she had on her homepage. I like that.
Definitely. She keeps, you know, she clearly says why she's doing what she's doing. She's sharing out what she wants to attract. I think there's an opportunity, and again, every business is a little bit different. One of the things that I feel like is missing maybe is social media. So because of the nature of the type of business, like let's include a couple of those links, whether it's Facebook or her group or ways to connect. You know, again,
yeah.
I know Heather personally, so I know she has social media accounts. You know, again, every business is different, but this is, and it's a great place for a call to action.
Yes, it is. I was going to say it would be a wonderful place to have a button that links to her contact page or to her Acuity calendar. It's good to have a call to action on every page.
Agreed. So I like to put them in footers personally. I think pervasively, I don't know about you, but I like keep that footer with all your links and your info and just keep it pervasive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But basically you want to make sure there is a clear call to action throughout your entire website. And that really goes back to what the goal of your site is. And I'm guessing in Heather's case, it's for somebody to book a session with her. So whether that's through filling out her contact form or actually booking time on her calendar. So you want to make sure you've got that clear call to action on every page.
Yep. I do like that she's got contact up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I love her contact page. I think it's wonderful. She's got a form. You can, I think she has her email.
There's the social, baby. I knew it was there someplace.
There we go.
You know,
but
she can make this clickable, simple
exactly.
things.
Phone number. So there's no question that people can reach her, and that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good too. Let's hop to this item. Before I click on it, any thoughts on posts versus calling it a blog?
I would encourage Heather to consider changing the name of the page to blog. Whenever you're designing the names of your pages as they appear in your menu, I always like to say you want to make it easy enough for a third grader to be able to understand exactly what every single page is. And I think blog is really clear, and it might be a great idea to switch that.
I agree. I think especially since she calls it the blog here, just call it the blog. Yeah. And then I am obsessed with lupins, which is what I think these are. This photo is incredibly gorgeous. Beautiful. It fits all the rest of the branding that she's got throughout the site. Mm-hmm. one thing I'll point out here is the navigation is gone. So how do people get back? So thinking about here's your experience, I feel like a broken record, but it's important. You know, you want to make sure that's also pervasive. I'm listening to my own words. I use the same words over and over again. But you want to be able to get them to come back and go and all of that stuff.
Yes, to move to any other page without just having to click the back button.
Yes. How do you feel about having, I mean, I feel like it's okay to have the header image on a blog and the situation on the blog a little bit different, because sometimes those turn into entities on their own. So it's, you know, but I do feel like the navigation needs to be there. What's your thought on that?
No, I agree. I think that looks absolutely fine, but I would definitely make sure the menu is showing up on this page.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think this is an image. You don't want to lose search. So you want this to be text. I don't know how to solve that, but just.
So it's very easy to solve in WordPress. I'll tell you really quickly. You want to set that up as a headline with a background image.
Done. Same in Squarespace. And then I mean, her blog is super easy. I think simple is good. The one thing that we noticed here is highlighting, she's listed herself as an admin. You can easily change that on the back end in WordPress to say Heather, you know, so your name pops up and all of that.
Yes.
So.
And the one other thing I would add is this is the page where it would be really good to have your sidebar that we saw on the events page.
That's a great point.
So that guests, visitors to this page can actually search in the archives by date if they wanted to, or by category or by tag.
Yep.
To find other blog posts. Yeah, that's how. Oh, one other thing I just want to bring up that I know Jesse and I both mentioned, we love the use of the hashtag.
Yes.
Yes, we both really like that.
And you, Heather, you better be using that in everything. One of the big SEO tips that I learned this year from, again, the SEO video, and is you should all be hashtagging your business names when you're sharing on social media. That's great link juice. It'll lead you back to your website. So you'll start noticing. I know Robin does this already. I launched my own Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I started hashtagging for my business anyway. I've had the one for the dog for years, but you know, it'll say Jesse Cohen marketing in it, and Robin says time to task in it. So you all should be doing that too. So, but it's okay to pick a hashtag and own it as well. So I think this is great.
And this is a great one.
I know that is a good one. Robin, this was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope Heather had some good feedback and, you know, has some good takeaways. And I think we shared a good number of tips too for folks watching. Would you agree?
Yeah. I would agree, Jesse. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I had a blast, and I really hope we gave Heather some actionable tips that she can
actionable marketing.
Yeah, I feel like websites are living creatures, and can't just create one and stick it up there and never make any changes. So
Agreed.
There's always improvement that can be made.
Totally.
Yeah.
Thanks.